Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Saturday, September 14th, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions. And so many of those decisions have to do with your ability to claim Social Security at the time that's best for you. You hear this all the time on the program. You hear people call in. We say, oh, why don't you wait till 67? Could you wait till 70? Instead of me talking about that, today we are going to bring you a portion of the webinar that we conducted with the fantastic Heather Schreiber. She is a Social Security expert. She's a consultant. She's really smart. And she was able to join us for the last webinar that we did. It was just a few months back. And to maybe tantalize you with how fantastic these webinars are, I'm going to bring you a portion of that interview today, another segment tomorrow, and hopefully this will encourage you to sign up for our subscription service. It's called Jill on Money Live. And if that is something that's interesting to you, you'll see it right at our website, jillonmoney.com. And again, Jill on Money Live provides you access to quarterly live webinars like the one we conducted with Heather, like the one that's coming up around the corner on September 24th, where we are hyper focused on real estate and the real estate market and the new realtor rules and how you should be thinking about that. And you can only be part of these webinars if you are a part of Jill on Money Live. It costs a whopping $35 for an entire year. Again, you'll be able to check out the back catalog like our interview with Heather Schreiber, bonus video content, and you'll be able to participate in the real estate webinar. So I encourage you to do that. Okay, but today we are going to give you that snippet of our interview with Heather Schreiber. And today we're starting with the quintessential important question: should we count on Social Security? Here is part one of our interview with Social Security expert Heather Schreiber. Heather, should we be worried and should we count on Social Security when we're talking to folks who are either on this webinar or anyone else who are above the age of 50? So if you're over the age of 50, do you worry about Social Security running out of steam?
No, I don't think. Well, first of all, I think we need to peel back the idea that it's going broke. I think that that is part of the problem. You see it all that, we've had the same message for this is the 13th year in a row that the trustees have said, P.S., if lawmakers don't do something soon, we are going to have issues. Well, they kick the can down the road. Nobody, politicians, lawmakers, they don't want to deal with this. And this is not a new message, right? So when we talk about going broke, people say, oh, it's running out of money. And so we really need to peel that back and say, what does insolvency mean? And it simply means that the trust funds, which there are 4 distinct trust funds, but the real one we're talking about, the combined trust funds that you're mentioning, the OASDI trust funds that pay the retirement, survivor, and disability, that combined fund. It means that if we don't do something to change the way benefits are paid or the taxes or so forth, that the trust fund, the reserves will run out of money by 2035. And then there will only be enough in ongoing revenue to pay 83% of benefits. That's what that means. So it doesn't mean we're out of money. Right. Now, we also do have the issue of workers. As time has gone on, we've had an increase by 22% of beneficiaries in the last decade. That's all these baby boomers, right, that have all gone, are collecting benefits, and we've had less workers, right? We have about 183 million workers. Yet we have a third of that or so that, beneficiaries. So we've got about 2.7 workers to every beneficiary. So you can see how it's really hard when we've got so many beneficiaries to 2.7 workers. So that's where the issue is. Is it going to go broke? No. Do I think that we are going to see a situation where that lawmakers are going to allow seniors to have benefits cut? No. I don't think that's going to happen. Where do we think that the biggest bang for the buck is going to be to restore solvency, to make it so that the trust funds don't run out of money? Well, where does everything lead to? Where do we think this is going to happen? I mean, really, if you think about it, our taxes are at historic lows. If you look at the history of taxes, They've been up as high as 90%.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you look at it, right? I mean, back
Yeah.
in 1944, they were at 90, the highest marginal tax rate was 90%. So we're actually in good shape compared to that. So I think that it's going to be a situation where, I mean, the longer we go without the lawmakers or the Congress saying, okay, we're going to do something, it's going to hurt a little bit more. But I think what it's going to be is a situation where it's going to affect the workers more than it is the beneficiaries.
So we can see that by an increase of the Social Security wage base, the amount of money on which the taxes apply.
Right. So, yeah. So, right now in 2024, the maximum taxable wage base for Social Security taxes, not Medicare taxes, that goes all the way up to all of your earnings. But for your Social Security taxable earnings, it only goes to 168,600, and then you no longer pay that 6.2 or double that if you're self-employed. I could see that increasing. Now, the current administration has a solution to that. They say, well, have there be a period where you don't pay, and then if you're a higher earner, starting at 400,000, you pay again. So, but you don't get an increase in benefit. You don't get an increase in benefit, though.
Okay. Would it be possible to increase the Social Security, the FICA tax on just the employer and not the employee?
Anything's possible, right? But I doubt that would be the case. It would probably be, I would think it would be to everybody. But here's the thing. I mean, there's always been a stopgap on earnings, because if you decide to increase the earnings, then that would also essentially should increase the amount you get from Social Security. That's why there's always been a ceiling,
right?
Because the theory is, I mean, you get that part of the earnings. If you earn more than that right now, the way the benefit formula, your benefits are calculated, your earnings above that aren't included in how your benefit is calculated. So if someone earns or 168,600, well, that portion of their income isn't included in how their benefit is calculated. So if we start to increase how much is taxable, then I guess what we would have to do is say, well, but you're not getting a benefit increase.
Correct.
Right. Because that just causes more of a problem.
Right.
So there's ways to do it. So
all right, you want to hear my solution?
Yes. What's your solution?
Okay. We go to 6.5%, both sides, and we raise the wage base. You can say, I would even say, like, you pay it up to you can have like your 160. But I really would raise it all the way up to like 300,000. And I'm sorry, stop whining. That's the deal. That's it. You're paying for your granny.
To me, that would fix the problem. But then I think that there would also be a measure where maybe you also wouldn't get an increase in your benefit.
Yeah. I agree. Totally.
I think that they would probably say, okay, we're going to increase so we're including more of your earnings, but we're not going to increase your benefit amounts. We're still going to cap them at a maximum of X.
Right.
That would obviously, those types of solutions, because there are calculators out there where they give you the ability as a consumer to kind of play with it and say, okay, if we did this, if this was the solution that lawmakers used, how much would it improve the solvency? And those are the kinds of changes that will substantially affect change, not these things of, I mean, there's things that really aren't going to effectively change much.
Right.
Could I see increasing for, you say, people maybe younger, maybe in their early 50s? I don't know. But the younger workers, could I see them increasing the full retirement age again? Sure. That was one of the changes that they made when we've been here before, by the way. Mm-hmm. Back in the 80s, we were very close to having to cut benefits. And that's when the amendments of 83 occurred. So that in 1984, that's when, remember, Social Security's full retirement age used to be 65. That was when the gradual increase came from 65 to 67. Mm-hmm. That is when federal employees or civil service retirement system turned from civil service to the federal employee retirement system, where they started paying into Social Security. That was one of the changes. And also the first tier of taxation of benefits coming out. That was when the first 50% tier went into play in 1984. All of those changes helped restore solvency, so there were never benefit cuts. So we have been here before, and we were much closer to it then. And at the final hour, those changes were made to avoid benefit cuts.
If you've got questions about Social Security, about your own claiming strategies, about why it makes sense for you to wait, or maybe it makes sense for you to claim early, whatever the case may be, we'd love to hear from you. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and let us know if you'd like to join us on the air live. I think sometimes, especially with these Social Security decisions, just go to the website, JillOnMoney.com. You can subscribe to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen. And of course, lift someone up. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.